It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show on your screens tonight. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show for your home delight. We're talking about Age of Sigmar and anything else that is cool. Talking about Warhammer Fantasy, it's easy to learn the rules. Andy and Remington, Andy and Remington, Andy and Remington Show.
Welcome one and all to yet another spicy, sizzling, tender, moist, succulent, finger-licking good edition of the Andy and Remington Show, episode 187. And as always, I'm joined by Remington, and as you can see in the thumbnail, we almost have a special guest, because as the thumbnail disappears, you'll see that we currently do not have a special guest because we're waiting on the Swedish internet to clear up for Zato to make it in here, and we're just going to hang around in complete silence while we await Zato's arrival. I think everyone will find that very entertaining, won't they?
Andy, you're looking very Christmassy.
Am I looking festive?
Well, the screen is. It's kind of cool, man.
You like those snow effects, do you? No expense spared on this show.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. Happy Christmas, Andy.
Yes.
I hear you bought me a present.
That is true. It's a top-notch present as well.
Amazing.
Just to pre-warn you.
Why do I need warning? Does it mean that I have to do in kind?
Well, that's up to you if you want to be ravaged by guilt for giving someone a subpar present when they've given you such a magnificent one. Then that's entirely on your conscience.
Who's Krampus? Mickey Jenver says Rem is looking like Krampus. I don't know.
That's a bit harsh.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, when am I coming to visit Andy and Bad Squiddo for presents? As soon as my term finishes in another 2 days. I can't wait for that. Is Remington poor now? Is that because Games Workshop shares have
plummeted?
Somewhat nosedived. Yeah, well, it's funny, right? Because every Games Workshop YouTuber seems to be talking about Games Workshop shares all of a sudden when we've been talking about it for 2 years.
Well, before you go into that, here you go. It might be the last time we get to play this because Remington's millions might turn into Remington's thousands or hundreds by next week. So it's time for
Remington's Millions.
There we go, Remington's Millions. So, talk us through this nosedive that GW's stock has taken.
Right, well, as we know, it's not a nosedive. It's a general plunge in small and to mid-cap stocks over the last month or two. And it's not down to fans being unhappy, although that doesn't help. But it's certainly not down to that, in my opinion. Supply crisis. It's, the end of the pandemic, or so we thought. And a whole series of things have pushed valuations down. Obviously, everything that's happening in China, la-di-da-di-da, not enough drivers to take things around. All sorts of things like that. But I was listening to a YouTuber that used to work at Games Workshop, and his channel's becoming quite popular. And he's posting videos almost every day, talking about his experiences, la-di-da. And his latest video was about Games Workshop shares. And one of the major gripes has been that Games Workshop don't pay their staff enough money. And it was showing pay slips from Games Workshop. It was interesting because I read the latest update from Games Workshop saying that they've upped everyone's wages by up to £2,500 a year. So that's kind of good. So they are responding.
Good.
Saying that, anyone can manage a company that's making, hundreds of millions of pounds profit a year. And if they can't manage that, then they're numpties. As if this guy who runs a YouTube channel could operate a £3 billion company better than the CEO of Games Workshop, who's basically turned things around like you wouldn't believe.
Do you want to hear what Colin has to say in the chat?
Go on, Colin.
It says, the stock was overpriced during the pandemic. It is a natural correction. What do you think about that?
That's a lovely way of putting it. If you look at some price analysts. They had the analysts predicting the stock a price target of 120 up to 130 pounds per share. So actually, you might argue that it's undervalued right now. But yeah, one of the reasons I jumped back into Games Workshop shares was because I thought Warhammer Plus might bring in extra revenues, and we haven't seen those figures yet. So that would be interesting to know how much of a revenue boost that will that might bring to the company. I guess we'll find out in the next earnings call.
You do realise your camera's been off for quite some time. It hasn't switched over to the other one.
Dig it now, okay? Don't panic. Right?
The people are panicking. There we go.
There you go. See? So, yeah, I mean, it's all just opinions, really. But I find it funny when people with no actual, skin in the game in terms of, buying companies and putting their money on the line, that they somehow are able to run companies better than people that have been working in the industry for 20, 30 years. So it's incredible, really. And a lot of these YouTubers are sort of almost claiming like it's their dissatisfaction with the company that's brought the share prices down, which is like unbelievable arrogance. But there you go, man.
The big question is, how long are people going to have to wait to hear you play the all-time high song again? That's what we want to know.
There were better times, weren't they? Well, I think, God, it's very hard to predict. I mean, look, it's like anything. I think if you invest in something, if you invest in a family, do you invest for it for 3 months, 6 months, or for years? Well, if you really believe in something, well, I like to think you're in it for the long term. So, do I think it's going to go up over time? Yes, I do. Do I think Games Workshop and its IP will expand? Yes, I do. Will it move into other areas outside of miniatures and be even more profitable in those areas? Yes, I do. So, does it have a big enough moat surrounding its business? Are there any close competitors? Probably not on their level. So, yeah, it's definitely got a huge market share.
There is another question on the lips of the masses, though, and they're wondering at what point, how low does that line on the graph have to sink before Remington goes all in and sees it as the lowest it's going to get, throw all your money at it, and just watch the profits roll in?
Well, you're looking at the all-time chart there right now. So over I think that's over 10 years. You think over 10 years it's just going up and to the right in general, right? But that doesn't tell the full story. And each one of those deep cuts that you see tells a story in itself. You can see that deep sort of jagged slash right in the middle there. Well, that was the COVID crash, and that dropped the stock price down to £36 a share. And that was, I think, I'd like to say that was the middle of March. But you can see that it rebounds to almost double that amount. So, look, your opportunity is when there's big dips. So, if you think this is a big correction and a dip, it might be a good time, or it might be not. Maybe you could just watch me lose millions. Maybe that can be entertainment for you.
Well, if you need some extra cash, we can actually launch Andy and Rem Plus, the subscription service where people not only get access to Remington's Pillow Talk, which is everyone's favourite series. It's now also been confirmed by Annie that we'll have exclusive rights to Squiddo Game, the hit new series. It's kind of like Squid Game except with guinea pigs. So I think that's going to be a big hit. That should bring in some good revenue for our streaming service.
Have you all watched Squid Games? I watched the first episode.
It's an international phenomenon. I think everyone's seen it by now.
Red light, green light. It's a nice game. Do you think all kids in playgrounds are playing that green light, red light game?
I think they probably are, if they weren't already. Did you used to play that?
Well, we didn't have machine guns. But,
apart from that aspect of it.
Yeah, I could see you could do an adaptation of that. But I love in the actual thing. I love the old man in it. He's just the look of joy on his face as he's playing these deadly games. He's amazing. I could see you as that guy, Andy, one day.
You think I'm going to become an old man who's so thrilled at the idea of near-death experiences that there'll be an expression of joy on my face? That's what you think.
I think, yeah, because you have been smiling more than ever. You've got a wry smile right now. It's nice to see, man. It's nice to see.
Well, I should be smiling because at the weekend I won a trophy at a Kings of War tournament.
Oh man, well done.
Best painted trophy. What do you think about that? Ye
That-
who has belittled my painting
That
prowess.
is phenomenal, man. I mean, like, what flipping heck, man? That is unbelievable, Andy. Well, look, through my mentorship.
That must be it. I
That
must have
is
been using
really-
all the Remington tricks and the tools from Remington Industries, the Remington dry brush, the Remington dusting brushes, the finger sponges. It was all those tools that helped me to reach the pinnacle.
Can we probe you on this, Andy? Which army did you present to the?
It was my Abyssal Dwarves, which you have seen some of them on this show before. I think we looked at some of them on the episode on big models last time.
That's pretty amazing, man. Yeah. So look, in a way, this show has one best painted trophy, hasn't it, Andy? You
That's
might
one
say.
way of looking at it. I'm also thinking that perhaps next week we could do a trophy special where we each go through our trophy collections. How do you feel about that?
Well, yeah. What's yours is mine when it comes to this, because we're in this together, Andy. So it's our collection of trophies. I think you'll find.
Let's go with that.
But that is amazing, man. We're waiting for Zato to come in. He's struggling, but we'll wait. It's all cool.
Yeah, struggling with the internet capabilities. Anyway, while we're waiting, we can just go through some of the Warhammer community news here.
Yeah, go on.
And if he doesn't make it in time for the show, we'll just have to change the title, probably keep the thumbnail the same for the lols, and then get him on again next week, maybe.
Now, we see the red gobbo there. I actually bought the red gobbo, if you didn't know. It's quite a fun little model. It could be, in my Gloomspike Gits army. And he can bound around on the table before Andy shoots it down. There you go.
Good.
Not painted it yet, though.
What do you think about this? This is a Christmas model.
Like it.
Big orc.
Yeah, man, that's
with a
amazing.
not so big grot hanging out
So
on his base, being chased by a rat by the looks of it.
What do you mean Christmas model? Is this going to be around forever, or is it like
Well, let's see what it says. This year's special festive models are an Auric brute boss and his grot mate who have a special affinity for hunting Skaven. Baller and Burke. Just makes me think of Trapdoor. Burke.
This one could be a nice investment. If you just buy one, don't open it. You might be able to sell it on the market in 5 years' time. History's told us that kind of generally gives you a profit if that's what you're into. This is a damn fine model though. I like it, man.
So
it's not festive though, is it?
They've painted it red, just like Santa. You'd be a
mean,
bit horrified if that jumped down your chimney and left a couple of rat heads around.
I mean, the poor little snotling little grot there. He's not having much of a party, is he?
Looks like he's wearing a potato sack.
Yeah. I mean, he's getting chased by the rat. That's embarrassing in itself, isn't it?
Yes. We've had a comment in the chat here, just in case anyone thinks that Zato may be haunted by the internet failure. Annie says that nothing can be as haunting as the show I forgot I was guesting on till was browsing YouTube and saw the end of it. So yes, she was supposed to be on a live stream, forgot all about it, was probably asleep, woke up, started browsing YouTube, and then saw, special show, guest Annie, and then, wait a minute, oops. So that was a funny moment.
If Zato can't make it in, does that leave a spot open for someone to nudge their way in?
Maybe not at this later notice. You know the tireless prep that goes into this show.
What about Annie? She's not so far away.
Well, she might actually be out right now.
She can't wait to come back on and see Remington. Come on, Annie. How are you doing? You're in the office.
Well, we are going to have some kind of Annie-related special coming up over the festive period, so that people can look forward to that. She's at the office right now.
You know, we're talking about Games Workshop, big company, blah, 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 right? But, when you look at Bad Squiddo Games and the amount of sheer hard work and unbelievable tenacity that Annie puts into that company, it's phenomenal, So,
well, as soon as Bad Squiddo becomes a publicly traded company, then we can start analysing the stocks, can't we?
Absolutely, and I haven't forgotten. I will be putting in something. I just need to, wait till all my stuff goes up.
You just need to wait until all the money that you've frittered away on these frivolous investments bears fruit, which you can then invest into Bad Squiddo.
But timing the market beats timing the market. That's for sure. So I sometimes think, well, if I hadn't invested, what would I have done with the money? And the truth is, well, maybe it would have just vanished.
So this model here will be available in stores between the 26th of December and the 2nd of January. That's the only time it's going to be available in store, and then it'll be available on the website between the 3rd of January and the 9th of January on a made-to-order basis. So everyone who wants these incredible miniatures can get them. So they're not going to be limited, apparently. But after that, I assume that'll be it. They'll be done. There you go, so there's that little snippet. Are you going to be picking up one of these? I am not.
I might be. I've basically, Andy, I've got a couple of models that I've painted that I've took pictures on. But I've not been painting for the whole week now because I've just been focusing on practicing guitar solos. So I've had to sort of knock the painting on the head for a little while because I've got some serious musical stuff coming up soon, so I have to actually practice.
Who would have thought?
So, I'm tempted to get this, but it's not do or die.
What about a Blood Bowl Rat Ogre?
I've always liked rat ogres, There's something a bit comedy about them still. Yeah, this one's amazing.
You've not been traumatized too much by them in Vermintide?
No, this is great. Oh, speaking of Vermintide, have you seen the Warrior Priest?
Yes.
Yes.
Afterwards, we'll look at this, then we'll talk about two exciting bits of news in that other kind of gaming.
Nice. Well, I like this rat ogre because, you could obviously use it for Age of Sigmar as well.
I think they've gone for an unusual level of horrible infection detail around these wounds, haven't they?
Yeah. Yeah. Tell us about the serious music stuff. I'd love to tell you. Hold on. Something major's happening in the market. I'm getting text all over the place. What's going on?
What?
Something amazing's going on. It could be, I don't know. Everything's going up. What? Oh my God!
What's happened?
What?
That's all your stock's just gone through the roof.
No, I think something incredible has happened. That can't be right. What?
Is there amazing Remington news just dropped in live on the show?
This can't be right. Basically, I bought 1,000 coins or something that were like a 10p, and my app is telling me they're now worth £2,300 each, and I've bought thousands of them. So listen, just give me a minute here, Annie. You might have your investment secured. God, right. What's
Where's that cash out button?
It's got to be some kind of glitch in the Matrix, man. What's happening here? What the hell's going on?
Are we going to witness Remington's Millions live on the show, or is it a glitch? Predictions now, folks.
Bitcoin price has just gone to $750,000. That's what? No. Oh man, you're just gonna have to hold the fort for me, Andy, while I get to the bottom of this.
Well, you step away. You get your money out of there, and if it's real,
it's not real. Hold on.
If it's real, everyone's gonna expect a pretty tasty Christmas present from you.
You bet, man, but it can't be real. Nothing like that happens to me.
Well, if it does happen live on the show, then I think it's safe to say that it's our winnings, really, because what happens on this show is it's shared, isn't it, really? Just like those trophies of ours that I won. Void Captain Bazooka says it could be a glitch.
It's got to be.
Colin says we believed in you, Rem.
What do you mean? What have I done? You believed in me. Oh, bless you.
Everyone believes in Remington.
All the exchanges have just gone absolutely mental, and something either really dodgy or just some crazy.
Well, if it's real, then are you doing something about it?
I don't know what to do.
Sell.
I can't. It's not that simple. Oh no. Oh no, I was playing the tortoise game where it was just
You
the
can't
long
play the
slice.
long game if that's real.
Oh fuck! Oh, it's just the figures messed up somehow. It's not real.
Wow.
What? All right, look. Elrond has gone up by 171 million% in the last minute. That's impossible.
That doesn't sound real.
That's impossible. So it's just, oh my god, it wouldn't have let you solve those. Sorry, man. We're supposed to be doing a live show, but something incredible has just happened, and it's just gone back.
Can stocks or whatever prices of coins go up 1,000,000% in 10 minutes?
It's possible.
Has that happened
it could
before?
be. Well, they can go down like crazy, but it could be a glitch, and it comes up, and there's like that 30-second gap where something like that could happen. So, yeah, yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Annie says it's a hack. So maybe someone's hacked into the server or something and messed with it.
Yeah, but I'm on 6 different exchanges, so.
Annie says coin market cap was hacked.
Ah, right, that makes sense. So CoinMarketCap just basically tells you the prices of stuff. That's it. They're not an exchange themselves. Yeah, I'm getting messages. We're supposed to be doing a live show about Warhammer. I'm sorry, but for a moment there, my net value was almost as much as Games Workshop for a brief few seconds, and we're all going to be in the money. But yeah, if anyone could do some research, tell me what just happened. But that was absolutely bonkers.
For a few minutes there, Remington's millions were
I
real.
bloody missed the boat because I was on the show with Andy. That's my commitment. Oh my god.
Yes. We've got some people down in the trenches on Twitter now looking for the hot gossip to find out what's going on.
It's going to be all over the shop, man. It's going to be all over the shop. But yeah, I once saw something like that in, believe it or not, Super Dry shares. You know the company Super Dry.
Yes.
So like, it was all going down during the crash, and I was thinking, oh yeah, maybe if I just buy like 20 quid's worth and see what happens. If it goes up to anything like it was before COVID or before 2020, it might do well. Anyway, there was one moment where it literally spiked up from £2 to £20 in seconds, and it wouldn't let me cash out. And what happened? Generally speaking, it's when people are moving money around. So they might have moved money into the stock and out of it immediately, and it would cause like this spike. There could be 100 other reasons that I don't know, but
so if you're watching it like a hawk, do you actually have the opportunity to cash in on those very momentary spikes?
I think something like a phone just wouldn't be fast enough. But if
are there people that have
it's possible.
Are there people that have an automated system for doing that?
Yeah, there's robots that automate it, and you can automate it to sell or buy automatically if it reaches certain levels.
So maybe that's what you need. You need the Remington Investo bot.
You could do that, but you know, if you could say if you bought something at 100, you could say, well, if it goes down to 90, I'm going to automatically sell and minimize my losses, right? But what happens if it spikes down to 20 in a glitch? You sell out automatically, and then it goes back up to 120, or it goes above 100 again. So, you know, it depends whether you're a trader, swing trader, or an investor. You know, at this point, I'd say
what do you consider yourself? What was it you described it as? Tortoise approach.
Well, yeah, that's the grandma and grandpop way into it, I suppose. So I don't know. It's very hard to play the long game when you see, you know, especially in something like crypto where there's such big price volatility. But you see, we're a generation that this is a longer narrative, but we're a generation where our future's being taken away from us with the you know, with pensions possibly not really existing for us guys. So we have to make our own fortunes. And so this is why a lot of young people are very comfortable with digital assets and investing in a digital future. Because the old models are not meant for us. They were built for boomers, unfortunately. So Rem is a swinger, says Mickey. I have done some swing trading.
The Colonel says Remcoin is a safe bet.
There you go. But you know, it's actually very easy to mint a coin. You could just mint a coin that literally has no function at all. A bit like, you know, Dogecoin, I guess, or something like Safe Moon. Or so you got all these coins, and they're just basically community tokens. So I generally avoid those, but you hear stories of people, you know, winning millions, but there's obviously the majority of people don't win anything. They lose stuff because they jump on the rocket and then it's soon out of fuel. So with these things, you have to be in it well before any sort of big price boost. So
Well, if nothing else, I can snip out the bit of the show where the volatility was going crazy on your phone and put the moment Remington's Millions almost became a reality and get a few thousand hits on it, maybe.
That was incredible. I've never seen anything like that before. Literally, I mean, if I look at that, I took a photo of it, of this, this coin called Hex. I mean, I think it's probably dozens of coins, but it went up by a percentage that I never thought was even possible. So, and then I went on the exchange to look if the exchange was showing that price, so I could sell it at that price, and it was not. So I think Annie was right in saying it was just the coin market cap thing was wrong. So yeah, that was
Good to have a little bit of excitement in your life, though. It's like getting an email saying your lottery ticket has won a prize. So you've got the 20 seconds it takes to navigate to find out that you've won £3.50. You get that excitement during that time, don't you?
I mean, look, I don't know if you can see my screen, but look, my phone is still. If I just put it there, can you see the number on there? And you see that massive spike?
Yep.
Well, if you can't read that number, I'll tell it to you. It says in the past hour, this particular asset's gone up by 325 million%. So according to this, which is obviously not right, it's gone up from 10p to £461,000 per share in 1 hour. And I owned about 10,000 of these shares. So on paper, what's 10,000 times 461,000? Let's call it 500,000. 10,000 times 500,000.
A lot.
That is. That would be amazing, wouldn't it? Live on the show, Remington actually becomes a multi-millionaire. That would be a moment in history, wouldn't it? It'd be like, I'd just like give it to everyone in the audience. It'd be wicked. It's like
well, you've pledged to do that now, so if it does happen,
that'd be amazing.
Only people who are in the audience right now, the hardcore viewers. Okay, should we talk about some Warhammer stuff, maybe?
Yeah, I was just doing this calculation, which I mean, I guess it's pointless, but why not? What is it? 500,000 times 10,000. Well, I'm not very good at maths. You were at 5e9. What's that? 5 to the power of 9?
It's a lot. Let's just call it that.
Is that 5 billion? 5 million?
Well, a billion is 1,000 million, isn't it?
Yes.
And you were timesing 500,000?
Yes. By 10,000.
Yes.
So that's 5 billion.
5 billion.
So in this show, live on this show, participants of the Andy and Rem show, on paper, became multi-billionaires.
It wasn't even on paper, it was on the screen.
And do you know what? There's only 10 people watching the show. Everyone else is watching Warhammer Weekly or watching that guy that used to work for Games Workshop moaning. Isn't Rem a maths teacher? Well, obviously not, Mickey. Don't be sarky. I was terrible at maths.
Well, should we have a look at some of these Advent Engine entries? I know it's not quite as exciting as becoming a multi-billionaire. It's a foot on a rock. It's an engine, some claws. It's clearly some Eldar type thing. It's clearly something else Eldar-ish. And yeah, it's just all kinds of Eldar stuff, I'm afraid. Eldar or Dark Eldar, maybe.
I don't know. Look at that skeleton snake fang thing.
Not very interesting. It's clearly all 40k stuff, though, isn't it? Let's be honest now. Not exciting enough for my liking.
Yeah, I mean, everyone in the chat is excited about Remington's billions, as we should call it now. But the problem is, guys, that you can't just sell an amount like that, because whenever there has to be a buyer. There's a seller and a buyer, so there has to be a buyer willing to take take my assets at that base value. And if they looked at the charts and seen that spike, I doubt if I could find any buyers. So that's a problem. So
The
these guys that you hear about, oh, what this guy, put £100 into like Shiba Inu, and now it's worth $500 million. Well, watch him try and unload that $500 million on the market. He can't sell it for that much. It won't happen. You'd have to sell it in very small bits, and as the price is going down. So, oh man, bad Squidder Games. My fancy of buying Brooks Brothers was there in the read.
I believe
Hasn't Brooks Brothers gone bust?
that is the business right across the road from Games Workshop, I think. So setting up Squiddo World right opposite Warhammer World would be a bold power move, wouldn't it, in the wargaming world?
Speaking of the locality of Games Workshop, last time we spoke, there was a sewage leak, wasn't there?
Yes.
Do you remember?
I can reveal there are still huge external pipes running quite a way up and down the road, unloading all kinds of vile substances into big container vehicles. So whatever was going on, it still hasn't been resolved. It doesn't really affect cars at the moment. All the roads have been open for a while, I believe. Pedestrians are restricted to one side of the road, though, at the moment. So everything's running pretty much back to normal, but they haven't finished yet with their work.
Colonel Billington says he's been kicking up a right stink outside GWHQ. There you go. Do you think that's the reason why the price went down? Probably, right? There you go. It's Nurgle.
Maggotkin of Nurgle are almost upon us. And look, they get one new model.
Yeah, why is that, man? Did they need any new models though?
Well, they've got quite a few, but if it was a Stormcast book, they'd get 1,000 new models.
Yeah. Oh, man. But you should be defending Stormcast already. You've got bloody loads of them, haven't you?
Yeah, but I don't need any more. Stop releasing Stormcast. I've got enough.
Yeah, but you see, they're going to lose exclusivity, aren't they? No.
Oh, we've got Nurgle Dice, so that means it's time for
Dice Watch.
That's right, it's time for Dice Watch. What are our thoughts going to be on these Nurgle Dice? They're a kind of putrid yellow colour with a pink colour for the pips and the Nurgle symbol.
Can I just ask, what are those three circles representing? Are they like close-up of a boil? You get like three bulbous heads.
I don't actually know what that represents.
Are they kind of the three elements to the plague? Is
it part of a fly or something? I don't know. It's Nurgle-y looking though. So what do we think? My slight issue I would have, the symbol on the side of the 6. I'm not sure it's bold enough. I think at a distance that could be confused for instance, the number 5. What do you think?
That could be, yeah, I can see that. Yeah, is it meant to be a 6?
Yes, I assume that is the 6.
No, you get used to that.
It's not the strongest symbol we've seen. I think it could have been a bit different to make it a bit more bold. That's what it needs. A bit more boldness. So I'm not going to give it a full thumbs up, but the colours are good. It's a pale colour and then a really strong dark colour, so it's going to be easy to read the numbers in that sense. So I'm going to give it half a thumb up. It's like a wiggly thumb, just angled upwards a little bit. Okay, there's that. And you can also buy some of the Dominion models separately now in a little pack. Very exciting. Blood Bowl, we already saw that. Blah, 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 blah. You can get Christmas cards with Space Marines on them. You can get Christmas stockings with Space Marines on. Very exciting. Lots of new stuff, most of which we don't care about. Scrolling past it. There we go.
I suppose Nurgle underpants or Nurgle socks probably wouldn't be big sellers, would they? Right?
I don't think so. A case could be made that plenty of people's pants are already blessed by Nurgle. So, Lord of the Rings has got some new stuff.
Did you ever play the Lord of the Rings or the Hobbit game?
I did not, but I've heard that they were good. They were very well thought of at the time.
Yeah.
Are you scratching your microphone with your beard there?
Sorry, mate. Sorry, I'm still sort of excited by 3 minutes in time. I was literally a multi-billionaire
For a few minutes.
For 3 minutes. So I'd like to tell you what that felt like, but the moment's passed before I even realised it. So it's kind of, it's like someone is just waving a winning lottery ticket in front of you and then sort of throwing it in the bin or burning it in front of you. There you are.
Well,
good.
Lord of the Rings models, very exciting, except we don't care much because we don't play it. And what's this? Remington's been painting more miniatures. Who have you finished this week?
Yeah, well, you should be interested. Look, I've painted a Caradron Overlord character from Cursed City. That means all my characters are now painted. What do you reckon?
That's quite tasty, actually.
All these models, I must tell you, they look terrible as I was putting the base coats on. But with each layer, it sort of came to life, breathed life into these wonderful characters.
There's always a sweet spot when you're working your way through a miniature, isn't there? It looks terrible the first few layers, and then it reaches a point, usually the washes bring it to life, make it look much more like a completed product, and then from there, everything, each step from that point just makes it look even better.
Hey, David Cartley, hello, mate. So there's something, if you look closely, on the back of his head, there's this sort of temperature gauge.
Yes.
Which is kind of a nice little touch. So as he's shooting his weapon, obviously it goes up into there. I can't tell you how tiny that is in real life, except you have to believe me. That was a bit of a trick. I didn't quite... I wanted to put numbers on the gauge, but that's as good as I could do.
Well done for attempting it, because I've got a lot of those things on my Caradron Overlords, and I haven't attempted to paint an actual gauge on any of them.
Oh, they do have gauges then, do they?
They have little round ones, not as big as this. This is quite an impressive one.
I mean, just to point out, if anyone doesn't know, this model is probably the size of my little finger now, and Andy's blown it up to be the size of my real head. Yes. So, sorry if it doesn't look great close up.
Got another camera angle of all the magnificent heroes there.
My eyes are not getting better, I'm afraid. My eyes are getting worse, but I am pretty proud of the female sort of Templar. She's pretty cool.
The nice symbol there on the cloak.
Yeah, I did. I don't know. I kind of I will use the GW template as sort of as a go-to, I guess. Yeah, they are.
Okay, next.
That's it. They all Cursed City's done now. It's just one skeleton and a bunch of rats and bats to paint.
Now, I've been painting as well. More hammers. More heavily armoured Stormcast Eternals that are going to smash Remington's forces into a million pieces. These ones doubly so. What are you doing to your microphone? It sounds very scratchy, like you're rubbing on it. I don't know what on earth you're doing. Yes, that thing that you just did.
Wait a minute, I've still got some coins that are still showing. They've gone up by millions. Trade anything right.
Well, everyone can admire my paintwork while Remington is doing that. And I'm going to zoom in on them because I'm quite happy with the way they've turned out. Even the faces and the eyes in this case. So let's have a look at them close up. I think they stand up pretty well to scrutiny. I was happy with these eyes, especially because usually when I'm painting eyes, I have to try and put that dot in 3 or 4 times before it's in the right place. And then I'll just do the eye really messy and then paint the skin over the bit around it to neaten it up. But in this case, I got them all first time.
You did? That's great, Andy. Well done. What was it like painting darker skin?
It was It wasn't really a challenge, because what I used to do to paint the darker skin was to just use pale flesh colour and then put multiple layers of wash on it.
Right.
But with these ones, I actually started off with a really dark brown. The one on the right started very dark brown and then highlighted with a lighter brown over that. And then the one in the middle, I started with the light brown and then highlighted with an even lighter brown.
Yeah. No, that's a great job, man.
And then,
how long does it take to do each one, do you think?
To do all the faces and the hair took me quite a while, actually. It took me a few hours because to get the hair just right as well. I even took pictures from above because you know how I was complaining a while ago about the hairstyles of some of the miniatures that GW have been putting out aren't interesting enough.
Yeah.
These are the hairstyles that I actually like. Like this one. There's a lot of texture to work with. They're not just all straight. And you can do a good job on them. So I like how they've turned out.
A lot of people think these are just like, Space Marines, right? But fantasy. But one of the differentiators is that Space Marines all seem to have either a shaved head or a buzz cut. But Stormcast have sort of better styled hair.
Yes, I even had to go at a form of blending on this guy's head as well, on the right there.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's a little bit of a gradient from the light grey to the black at the back there.
The thing is, Andy, when you think about it, if you're playing a tabletop game, that is the angle you're going to see these miniatures at the most. Or if you're playing them, you're going to see their back.
Yes. That is true.
Hey, we've got no dislikes on this video. How about that?
That's impressive.
Yeah.
So, with these Annihilators, I thought the ones that have the shields, they've all got their helmets on, because they're the big defensive ones with the 2+ save. The ones that are going to be smashing your faces in, being angry, with not so good armour, they should all have exposed faces, and none of them wearing helmets. That was my thought process there. I think they've come out nicely. Looking forward to getting them and Bastion on the table against the forces of Remington.
Yeah, but surely these invincible characters are going to cost you an arm.
They are quite expensive in points, yes.
Yeah?
These ones aren't as survivable as the other Annihilators, but they will just annihilate whatever they touch, generally.
Now, do you think they've got a good chance of killing monsters, these guys?
Yes.
Or are they more like character killers?
They will dish out a lot of wounds to whatever they land on.
What about a horde? Like a bunch of night goblins?
I don't think they'd be too terrified of night goblins. But they'd be just kind of wasting their talents.
See, I don't know. I really enjoy playing the Gloomspite kits. Don't want to give up on them just yet, even though it's literally like, they're all cannon fodder. But, I have painted more or less an army of the Swamp Orcs. So, do you know what I mean? I wouldn't mind giving them a go because they seem a bit more sturdy,
Yes, well, we are going to get a game in very soon, people. Don't fret. Going to be battle reports coming to you pretty soon indeed. Now that Mr. Remington is about to get a bit of time off work, I believe. Going to get some games in. Including the Cruel Boys getting their first action on the battlefield, no doubt. And because our guest, unfortunately, has still been having issues, then it doesn't look like he's going to make it onto the show this week. So it's possible that Zato is actually cursed. Because the first time... what happened the first time? I think he was ill, actually, the first time. The second time, Remington had to postpone the show. And this week, we've got technical difficulties. So it could be just a cursed concept having Zato as a guest. But we're going to keep trying, don't worry. Hopefully next time. If not, time after that, or the time after that, we're going to keep attempting to bring you the spiciest guests from the community. Don't you worry about that. But it's not been a particularly busy news week, though, apart from the Warrior Priest for Vermintide 2 and the Space Marine 2 trailer dropped as well, which I know is very exciting for everybody.
Yeah, that's the best news of the year for me. And
Space Marine,
I think with me, you and me are both long old school fans of Space Marine the game.
yes.
I've played it multiple times. Perhaps you have too. My only criticism was that the game was too short.
Yes, but you wade through so many games of GW's IP, and there are so few gems among them, and then you find one like Space Marine, for instance, and then there hasn't been a sequel in all this time, and they've just shoveled more filth onto the IP pile during that time, but not a Space Marine sequel, and now finally we're getting it.
It looks awesome. Why do you think they chose sort of to have more gene stealers and more sort of, those creatures?
I think, well, you need hordes of enemies, don't you?
Yeah.
So I think they're, as far as the lore of 40k goes, they're one of the more obvious horde choices.
Now, Andy, one thing that I noticed about Space Marine was the lead character. Is it Titus?
You know what? I can't even remember his name now.
And the voice actor is actually a very, very famous British actor, and you can recognise his voice. Do you recognise who he was?
I haven't actually watched the trailer yet.
Well, it's a British actor called Mark Strong that plays the voice of Titus, and I hope he'll be returning. Mark Strong, you might have seen him on Jaguar adverts. He often plays a bad guy. He's got a very deep voice, very English. He's been in a ton of films. No? Maybe.
I'm sure everyone will be furiously Googling after this if they're not aware. Stu says, I adore Space Marine. The single reason I kept my PS3 is so I can continue to play that game.
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole story going on because at the end, this is not really a spoiler, but at the end of Space Marine, it's such a good storyline. The lead character, Titus, basically battles a chaos demon and sends him back to the warp. But then the Inquisition arrive because one of Titus's fellow Space Marine survivors basically dobs him in to the Inquisition. So the Inquisition come down and basically arrest him, even though he's just saved the planet, arrest him and take him away. And that's the kind of end. So what happens in Space Marine 2? Is he vindicated? Has he been demoted, promoted? Did he bust out of there?
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Interesting.
Very exciting though. That on the horizon, as well as obviously Total War Warhammer 3, spiciest video gaming entries. Looking forward to. I'm sure there'll be more filth as well, more terrible games.
Stu Gibson just revealed a shocker live on the show that it's not Mark Strong in the new game. Maybe it just cost too much money. But it's Clive Standen who plays Rollo in the amazing series Vikings,
which I have not seen.
Amazing. Watch. Gets a bit drawn out at the end, but yeah, brilliant.
Well, look forward to that. And I think we've run the well dry for this week.
That's exciting.
So we had some serious excitement though, and I may modify the title of the show to let people know that if they want to hear Remington becoming a temporary billionaire for a few minutes.
Andy, that would literally mean I could probably buy Games Workshop, buy the whole company. That would be amazing. And then what I'd do, I'd put one of these, one of these gobshite YouTubers as the CEO and see if they can run the company better. Because according to them, they could. So as an experiment, it would be quite an entertaining journey. That. What do you think?
It certainly could be quite an entertaining journey.
I wonder if they would be protecting the IP just as just as viciously. Probably would, Otherwise, I'd sack them.
Well, everybody, thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and don't forget to subscribe to Remington's channel as well while you're at it. If you want your every other yearly dose of Remington's pillow talk.
Don't be nasty, Andy. I might well put out some content over the Christmas holidays.
That would be a treat for the masses, wouldn't it? Rather than a lump of coal.
I tell you what, Zato's done well out of this show because twice now he's appeared on the front cover of the show, but not been able to make it as a guest. That's a really nice tactic, isn't it? We should do that. Appear on other people's shows, but not actually turn up.
Just promote ourselves and then
no show.
Man. It could work.
Absolutely.
So everyone, don't forget to follow on Twitter, join the Discord server where you can post pictures of your painted miniatures, and then we'll discuss them and critique them unfairly on the show. Facebook group, and don't forget also that if you want more spicy, tender, succulent, juicy, moist, delicious content shoveling into your face via the internet, on this channel, then why not support the Patreon, like the following people: Raccoon, Kevin, David, Cedar, Kim, John, Simon, Roshi, Nippleless, Brad and Guy. All of them are thanked personally. Extra special people out there in the community who open their wallets, open their hearts, keep this channel afloat in these turbulent times. Any final parting words, Mr. Remington, before we depart?
For a moment there, I took a rocket ship to the moon. And I've come back down to Earth. But it's still good to be here. Good to be with you all. Thanks for turning up.
It sure is.
And we'll see you soon, man. Some more games coming. Watch Andy absolutely annihilate me. But I will go down with a smile on my face for you.
Yes. All that remains to be said now, folks, is good night out there. Whatever you are.
It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show on your screens tonight. It's the Andy and Remington Steel Show for your home delight. We're talking about Age of Sigmar and anything else that is cool. Talking about